Wolf, and I want to talk to you a little bit about what to do if you feel that what you're drawing isn't coming out how you want it to. Um, so basically, I decided that I wanted to draw a picture of Bradley from an extremely goofy movie last year on his skateboard, and I wanted to make it look really cool. So I know in the first Goofy movie they did posters and t-shirts and various different things to promote the movie, and all they did for the second one was some McDonald's toys, which were only, as far as I'm aware, released in America. So I thought, hey, you know what? I really want to have a go at making a poster-style image that kids might have on their wall of one of the characters. I chose Bradley because he's my favorite, and chances are, if they had done any posters of this kind, that they wouldn't have included Bradley because he's the bad guy. Now, he is the main bad guy, but he's still the bad guy. And I'm pretty sure that they would only have done posters and merchandise of the characters who are the good guys. I won't go into all their names and what have you, but I remember back in the day, in the early 2000s, this movie came out in 2000, and it was straight to DVD or video. It wasn't at all released in the cinema or anything. But I remember back in the day, the movies used to have an official website, and on the website you could go and download wallpapers and various things like that, which was really cool. I used to do it. I used to be into a certain movie that came out, and I'd go on the website, find a cool wallpaper of the characters, and I'd put it as my desktop background. You could get phone wallpapers and stuff as well, although back then you kind of had to buy them from or download them from the sort of online store for your service provider. It wasn't smartphones didn't exist or anything back then. But anyway, I digress. So I wanted to do kind of like a poster image of Bradley on his skateboard. Now, the issue with this is that I'm not used to drawing people on skateboards. I struggle with it. It's not something I've really drawn before. So it was nice that it was a challenge for me artistically. So I did this picture that you see before you. And what I did to sort of get a reference for this picture was I referenced a photograph. And as you can see, his body looks like a human with a cartoon head kind of pasted onto it. And although I was happy with the pose and everything, it didn't really look natural. It looks like he's got no neck. My boyfriend pointed out, oh, he's got no neck. And so I raised the head a little bit so you can kind of see his neck underneath. But it just doesn't really look that good. I think everyone can agree that this is not very good. And if you are going to sort of criticize his foot position of, as you look at it, his right foot, their feet do actually do that. They kind of twist at the ankles and then kind of go flat onto the board as they gain momentum as the board goes to the ground. But he is, I did reference a photograph of an actual skateboarder, so the anatomy is correct. However, it just looks a bit dumb because I did the anatomy is human. I didn't kind of make it cartoony with big shoes and things like that because, it would be kind of more like that. So then I decided that I would have a go again. And this time I didn't reference anything. I did some stick figures and just kind of did poses. So I have this strange pose of him here, standing on one leg, with his arms stretched out behind him. Again, it's kind of, I don't know. I was a bit happier with this one, but at the same time, I'm just kind of yeah, it wasn't really doing it for me, really. And the skateboard also is a bit of a strange shape. It goes up too much at an angle at either end. So this was last year. So I decided a couple of days ago that I would have another go at this image. So I did this one. Now this one is the one I'm actually going to use. I'm really happy with this one. I think he's come out pretty well. I wanted to kind of make it 90s style, which is why the triangles behind him there with all the kind of 90s colors. They were quite big on yellow, blue, teal and pink back in the 90s. Although I grew up in the 90s, I kind of forget the aesthetic, so I did some little research things on Google just to see what it looked. It was similar to the 80s in many respects, to be fair. So I did this picture here. Now, the pose I actually referenced from, I found some it was just like a sheet of skateboarding poses that I found on Google, and they were just silhouettes. So the skateboard I think was red, and the little person was black. So it was solid black and solid red, and I just kind of used that as a rough reference for a pose because, again, I have friends who skateboard. I once dated a boy who skateboarded, but I am not good at this kind of thing because it is not something that I'm used to drawing. So I got this reference, and I think you can agree that this one's better. I also left his helmet off because in the film they do wear the helmets, obviously, because they're trying to promote, if you're going to skateboard, you should wear helmets or, knee pads or elbow pads, because that is the safe way to do it. But Bradley's the bad guy, and I've seen so many kids down at the local skate park who don't wear helmets, so I thought, I'm just going to leave that off, because in all honesty, I'm not good at drawing helmets, and I don't think anyone would really notice. So on the same day that I sketched this one out, I also sketched out this one. Now this one here has like foreshortening. Again, the pose I found on Google, it was some sort of I think it was a leopard character or something, who was kind of in this pose, and I thought, that one looks pretty cool. I'll have a go at drawing a little bit like that. I tried to sort of do the whole 90s thing with the SK8 skate at the bottom, and I did do a few like experiments with the lines and stuff, and as you can see, I have rendered the hell out of this thing. You can see all the black rendering. I don't know if you can see the mouse. I don't know if it shows in the recording, but up his leg and on his arms and everything, the rendering that I've done for the lines to give the shading and make it kind of pop a bit more. I just decided to sort of go wild with that. I do enjoy line work and I do enjoy rendering. I work in Paint Toolsci, and the line work in Paint Toolsci is far superior to Photoshop because they use kind of vector sort of lines, and they really are so good. I mean, all my line work comes out amazing. I would leave my stuff black and white if I could because I think the lines look great. So I went again with the whole B-Rad thing. Bradley, he doesn't like being called Brad in the film, he likes being called Bradley, but B-Rad is kind of cool, and I've got a friend who probably isn't watching this called Brad McMahon, who created Rude Dog, if you remember him from the 80s, and someone referred to him as B-Rad, and that was the inspiration behind the whole thing of having Bradley as B-Rad. So I put it on his skateboard instead of just writing it. And the whole skate thing in the gradients, I thought that kind of went well with the 90s theme. So I like these last two images. I think that finally I've got to something that I'm happy with. So basically what I'm trying to say here is if you draw something and you finish it and you color it and it looks great, and then you finally, like, I sketch something, I think it looks great. I ink it, I think it looks great. I color it and I think it looks awful. I've actually colored the whole thing and it looks terrible. So that's what I was doing with the others. I was kidding myself that they look good because they really don't. The anatomy and everything, if we go back to that, that's just, I don't know. I just don't think it's very good. As an artist, maybe some of you who perhaps don't draw might think it's good, and it's all right, but it's just not. It just isn't, I wasn't happy with it. And the second one I was a bit happier with, but again, it just wasn't right. And then I did this one and I thought, you know what, I've improved. But this was, I did the first two last year and I did the second two a couple of days ago. So if you finish something up and you think, I'm not happy with that, come back to it later. It doesn't matter how much later. If you feel inspired and you want to have another go, have another go. Don't stop until you're happy with it. Because if you really want it to work, then keep on trying. And it's also really good practice as well. In fact, I've got an art trade that I'm doing with my friend Kel. Hi, Kel, if you're watching. Recently, she said that she wants me to draw Max and Bobby skateboarding together. So with all of this practice I've been doing lately, I should be able to do a good job on the art trade. And so, even though you've had to redraw the thing multiple times, it's still all good practice for other stuff. So basically, that's what I'm trying to say. You don't like something, do it again, do it again, do it again, until you get it how you want it. If you're really passionate, you really want that picture to work, just do it again, and you'll find it works. So that was what I was making this video about. So If you want to see more art related videos, feel free to click the boxes that come up in the down below. Also, you can check out my Etsy and New Monday stores if you want to buy any plushies. I also take commissions, so just inquire because I'm always open for commissions, or you can buy me a coffee on Ko-fi if you like my stuff and want to give me a tip. And that is all for this video. Stay safe, stay healthy, and keep being awesome. This is Silver, signing